Okay, so our situation with Leon, I'm going to read the top of page 135. The heading is Shifts with Patterns, and here's the situation. Leon earns $213 a month. The money is shown here. He will save some of it every month. So we have 213 written out in its correct place values, and again, the currency underneath each digit representing the value of each number. So 213, take a look at that really closely. And then let's take a look at numbers 1 through 5. Okay, number 1 says if he saves 1/10 of his earning, how much will he save each month? So we started off with he's earning $213 a month. Let's write that into the first row of our place value chart. The 2 goes in the hundreds, the 1 goes in the tens, and the 3 goes in the ones. And we're talking about him saving 1/10 of this amount. They already have it in your book. What's the value that they give in the book then if he saves 1/10 as much? $21.30. Yep, it's right here in your book, saving 1/10 of each month. And then we can see clearly the 2 shifts from the hundreds place value. So 2 $100 bills become 2 $10 bills and so on. So let's take the book's word for it for now, and then we'll prove it with our place value chart. For number 1, the answer is 1/10 of $213 is $21.30 is what the book is saying. $21.30. Go ahead and write that in for number 1. Number 2 is what happens to the value of each bill? Well, the 2 again went from the hundreds to the tens. The 1 went from the tens to the ones, and the 3 went from the ones to the tenths. It's actually kind of hard to see in our book. Let's put it on our place value chart. So let's put $21.30 into the second row, keeping 213 in the first. And the question is, what happens to the value of each bill? Let's take a look at these 3 ones. These 3 $1 bills became 3 dimes. And again, this relates back to our introduction here. If we're exchanging or if we're turning a $1 bill into a dime, it becomes how much is much. We wouldn't rip our $10 or our $1 bill into 10 pieces and then give away a piece. We would exchange it for dimes, and 1/10 of a dollar is 1 dime. So it's becoming smaller. So this number is going to be a fraction. It becomes blank as much. 1/10 as much. One place value means we're getting lesser in value by 1/10. What happens to each digit? So each bill is getting 1/10 as much. Each digit, even if we're not talking about money, if we're shifting to the right one time, is going to become 1/10 as much. Go ahead and write out those 2 sentences for number 2 and number 3. The value of the bill becomes 1/10 as much, and the value of each digit becomes 1/10 as much. We're getting smaller here, and by 1 place value, getting smaller by a tenth. Number 4 says when you multiply by 1/10, does each digit shift to the right or to the left? Remember, right is going this way, left is going this way, left is getting larger, right is getting smaller. Did our 3 go to the left or to the right? It went to the right. So did our 1, followed by our 2. They shifted to the right. And by how many place values? Ooh, mine's so messy. Go ahead and write in right for number 4. Number 5, how many places does each digit shift? Well, our 3 went to the tenths. That's just 1 place value over. Our 1 in the tens went to a 1 in the ones, and the 2 in the hundreds went to the tenths 1 place value. 1 place value. All right, do you have all those answers in for numbers 1 through 5? Great job. Thanks for following along so closely. Let's keep going. All right, page 136. Go ahead and erase your place value chart. We're going to be comparing Leon's original earnings of $213 a month. So go ahead and write that in the first row. And now the situation has changed. He only wants to save 1/100th of his earnings. So if he only saves 1/100th of $213, how much does he save each month? Well, the book is already telling us the answer, and it's right over here. The book is saying 1/100th times $213 is $2.13. Let's go ahead and write that into our place value chart into the second row. $2.13 is what the book is saying. So let's go ahead and add that into our answer and let's prove it with the following problem. So $2.13. What happens to the value of each bill? Well, is he saving more or less than $213 a month? He's saving much less, so our answer is going to be less than 1 here. We're going to have a fraction or a decimal here. Let's just take a look at, for example, our 3 $1 bills. What happened to our 3 $1 bills? Where did the digit 3 go? It went into the hundreds place value, and now we have 3 pennies. Remember when we went from $1 to 1 penny? How many times as great did it become? Well, to exchange a dollar for a penny, we split it up into how many pieces? 100 pieces, and we take apart one part of that. So times, then it becomes 100 times as great, or in decimal form, that's 0.01. 100th or 100th. Our values of our bills, they're becoming 100 times as great. They're getting smaller. That word great is kind of deceiving. This value is less than 1. They are getting smaller. 100 times as great. What happens to each digit? Well, each digit is getting smaller by 100th. So number 8 is also, it becomes 100 times as great. Make sure you have, it becomes 100 times as great for number 7. For number 8, it becomes 100 times as great. The digits are getting smaller. And let's talk about what happens with the place values and what that means. When you multiply by 100, does each digit shift to the right or to the left? The 2 went from the hundreds to the ones. The ones, 1 went from the tens to the tenths, and 3 went from the ones to the hundreds. They're going this direction, which is to the right. And by how many place values is what number 10 is asking. Well, let's take a look. Starting off with our 3 and the 1s, let's count by doing those little hills again. The 3 went from the 1s to the 1 to hundredths. The 1 in the tens went how many place values? 1, 2. The 2 went from the hundreds to the ones. 1, 2. All the digits moved over 2 place values to the right.